Speck&Tech number 29. Let IOTs know who got the joke.
It's Fran's idea. Please laugh.
It's a friend living in Luxembourg, so yeah.
What?
You can play no money.
All right, so this is the team behind Speck&Tech. They're all volunteers. They're doing this for free, so big applause for them. Let's warm it up tonight. Thank you.
And aside to these people, there's also a bunch of people that contribute to our events that are not in the photo, like people staying there, people sitting here, and everyone that comes here and helps us keep this thing going. So thanks for contributing. It's always nice to have more arms around. Tonight, two speakers sitting down here, Jacopo and Tommaso. I was sure, I forgot, yeah. Big applause for them, the first speakers.
Thank you for coming. This is the busiest moment of the year for companies, so they are probably cutting relevant time from their working jobs and stuff, so thank you very much.
Yeah. And then sitting down here, Luca from Arduino.
Hello. Welcome.
So, as always, we want to thank a lot our supporters, because those are the ones also keeping the boat sailing. And the sponsors tonight are actually the same people that we clapped before.
Surprise!
Yeah. So we give 5 minutes to Jacopo from ThinKINSIDE to tell us a bit what they're doing and what is ThinKINSIDE, correct?
Yeah. So thank you, Francesco and Giulia, for the introduction. It's great to be here and to see this many people. Just a few words about... Wow, okay. Just a few words about ThinKINSIDE, also because then more will come in the presentation. So ThinKINSIDE was founded in 2015, so we're more or less 3 years old. Since then, many things happened. So we started as a very small company, then we got accelerated in each farm, then the first seed investment. Now we are 9 people. We are headquartered here in Trento, and with customers that are spread pretty much around the globe in a way. So we have customers in North America, in Germany, in Ireland, many different countries. Just a few in Italy, unfortunately, but that's also a good sign. What we do, it's in one sentence, is location intelligence, which means that we work in indoor environments. This is our perimeter. This is actually what we do. And starting from location data streams, we create value and services. So I won't go too much into the details of this because this is the core of the presentation. But in a way, we are at the junction of IoT. So we work with hardware, but we develop software. So we are a software company. It's a bit of IoT. It's a bit of analytics, big data analytics. So we work with pretty big volumes of data, out of which we extract knowledge and we deliver real-time services. So IoT, big data analytics, and scalable computing. This is in a way the combination of what we do inside the company. Last but not least, we're growing. So this is just one last sentence about a bit of marketing of what we do and what we're looking for. We're growing, so we're looking for 2 positions right now. It's a combination of full stack and front-end developers. So if it's anyone here willing to jump into the journey of ThinKINSIDE, please drop a line or just have a chat after the talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jacopo. A few seconds, because Julia needs to play with the...
Yeah, sorry, my computer is broken.
Oh, no. Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, so
we will get deeper into why you should join ThinKINSIDE, but for now, thank you very much for sponsoring this event.
Actually, the first talk is about ThinKINSIDE. We'll get to know how they work. A bit about Impact Hub.
Yeah, as usual, we are in Impact Hub, is a co-working here in Trento. Also, if you refer that you are from Speck&Tech, you get a small discount. And if you're looking for a place to work, this is the place you want to be.
Then we have Belka.
Also, we are not actually hiring a full-time position. We are looking for a design intern. So if you want to have an experience in our startup, we have now currently the possibility of having an internship in design. Usually we are quite busy with internships. So this is now the first time we are free in probably 1 year. I'm totally bragging it. And if you want to get your hands into an actual design project, we would be glad to have you.
And then we have Speck&Tech, my company. If you're into software development, we are working on some cool projects, and you should definitely join. We have to thank the guys from Maturing Cloud. If you donate 1 cent, you can get a beautiful email from us saying thank you and giving you a fattura.
Yeah. Also, if you're looking for stuff for the new Fatturazione Elettronica incoming, they are equipped with that.
Yeah. And then we have Diginate, who are the guys giving us the beautiful stickers. If you just go, what the fuck is it not working?
It's like my computer, Francesco. Everything is broken tonight.
Yeah. If you go to the desk right there, then you leave a donation, you can get as many stickers as you want. And also you can get our beautiful t-shirts, so you should definitely...
I am not included in the t-shirts.
Who's wearing the t-shirts? No. Cool. I was wearing the t-shirts. Yeah, then we have to thank Polly, who are the guys providing us with the Speck and the beers that are lying there in the kitchen. So whenever we finish the talks, some of you can leave, so there's more for us. As always, you can find everything on our website. There's all the sponsors as well, so if you're looking for jobs, so if you're looking for people to invite for a talk, if you're looking for an upgrade to your careers, you can also go there. You can find all the previous issues with the talks, the slides, the people involved, the speakers. You can also find some job opportunities right there from the companies also that are supporting Speck&Tech. And you can follow us and join our Telegram channel if you haven't done. We have like 700 people right there, so a big amount.
Is there anyone here that doesn't know what a Telegram channel is? Okay, cool, let's go.
Okay, question.
Yeah, so a little bit in depth regarding the do I have to donate thing. Usually I just throw a joke here. Since we are a lot of people tonight and we thought that it could be interesting to see how Speck&Tech works and where the money you gave to us goes. Sorry. So basically, an event costs almost 200 euros in terms of beers and food. Also, we have travel expenses. It depends if we are sponsored or not, but basically these are the overall costs. And so this is for those of you which is not super strong in math, the sum of that. And yeah, it's totally reasonable as yeah. So how we are covering these? Basically, those two pieces of the pie are how we get our money from. And so a big thank you. Like basically, Speck&Tech is impossible without people. Sponsors are not covering the whole thing. So this is first of all a thank you thing. It's not like you are guilty because you're not donating too much. But at the same time, we asked our commercialista also because it's the time of the year where you do a bilancio. All these words for me are impossible in English, sorry. A balance, maybe, who knows? And this is the answer who gave us. This is our actual commercialista, Fabio Costa, which I hope is not in streaming right now. But yeah, so this means that the expenses that we have are covered by the costs, this is very hard, math languages. So basically what enters, it goes out. We're at the 0 point. This means that we are not growing, but still, we are like floating and the entries are okay with what goes out. And so this is all a huge and confused thing to say thank you very much for your donation and keep going. Because like even if you donate €1 and you usually don't, this makes a difference between the beer and the Speck or no beer and Speck or no Speck&Tech at all. Because, yeah. On top of that, consider that all the time the volunteers are spending is basically for free. So we are trying to cut the costs because our director Francesco just bought a new Lamborghini and we don't know where the money goes.
Yeah. As soon as we're done here, we can go to sleep and leave the speaker's talk. A bunch of few things adding to what Julia said. Whenever you want to go to get one of the JetBrains licenses that we have for free, you can go there at the desk. You can also drop a coin since you're there. And at the same time, we made a partnership with TechSoup Italia, and they basically have a partnership with Flixbus. So whenever you want, you can go there at the desk and you can say, oh, give me a Flixbus discount, and they give you a 20% discount on every Flixbus ticket. So it's actually cool. We used it a lot up to now. So just go there at the desk. Finally, for Is this working actually? I don't know.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, cool. 4 gifts before closing the year and for 2019. First of all, boom! Next 2 events are ready. 1601 January, we have the City of Cloudflare. January also. If you are on Twitter, just follow Speck&Tech and go there. There's some very nice stories to read. This guy is super pumped. He's like tweeting us and saying that he's gonna come to Trento for Speck&Tech. So
it's incredible. Yeah, I mean, it's totally nonsense. I have no idea how this works, but it's working.
It's let's thank Michele, our nice friend Michele, that is not here unfortunately tonight, but he was the one engaging.
But he's alive.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, we're basically booking the stadium to host him as a speaker.
Yeah, regarding that, we will communicate before sharing the Eventbrite link when we will release the link, so you can get your tickets. Also, we are trying to get a bigger venue, like for real, not the stadium, but yeah.
Yeah, because actually, what happened last time with this event is that we opened the tickets and they went sold out in 60 minutes. So now we have like 130 people on the waiting list. So next times we will say, okay, we open the tickets on this date at this time, and so you need to be there clicking to get them. Second, next event also on the 26th of February. I guess we can say who's the speaker. Yeah, should we?
If you remember it, because
okay, no, we don't say. No, yeah, we have the
sorry guys, it's
yeah the current Debian project leader.
Yeah.
Chris Nanda. So actually our friends from DZ said, okay, yeah, we can invite cool people and bring it to Speck&Tech, so we make a partnership. So we're having a partnership with DZ, and they're taking this cool guy in February.
What is DZ?
Yeah, the Department of...
Joking.
Department of... Come on! Department of Informatica, Science and...
Science Information.
E se posso parlare in italiano? Cool. Second point of the night. PyConX. No, Alessia unfortunately is not here tonight, but actually we have a deal with PyConX. We will give out 2 tickets for PyConX in the next months, so just stay tuned. Yeah. Third point of the night. Arduino Canterino. So we're
which is not the title that I didn't invent.
Yeah, we actually plan to make an event with Arduino and Muse in the upcoming months. We want to kind of raise the awareness about you and to know if you're interested in Arduino, if you'd like to play with IoT stuff. And I guess this is the perfect night. And then actually we have somebody from Arduino that can evaluate if this is or not. We will send it out in the next days to let you know about this, and we want to get your feedback. So if you're interested in Arduino, if you don't give a shit, if you think it's cool, or if you're also cool at it and you can be one of our teachers.
You can write that stuff in the survey.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah. Final point of the night. We are opening a challenge together with the Fab Lab. Basically, if you have a team and you're into building stuff and hacking and do whatever, you can go there to the website. We will share it in the next days. It's called the Photonics Challenge. And basically, you say, okay, cool, I'm a team, I want to build this. The topics are 3. One is basically on photonics and design for a comfortable home. Second is light, love, and address. And the third one is sound and light. You can apply for that. They can pay up to 160 euros per team of hardware, components, and stuff. And you can build on it for the next 3 months, and at the end of March, there's kind of a showcase where you're actually showing your new products.
So it's basically hardware for free that you can play with. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and actually, it's sort of a hackathon, but instead of being in 24 hours, it's in 3 months. So you actually have kind of enough time, and you don't have to spend the nights, sleepless nights. So, yeah.
English is like twice the harder.
Yeah.
To write. Yeah.
No, sleepless is sleep twice the hardware.
Best.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, final point. Slide.do/st29.
Who has no idea what Slido is? No shame.
Okay.
So
just go onto your browser, type slide.do, and insert insert the code st29. And we will also send it out on the Telegram channel. You can go there and you can ask questions to the speaker. You can upvote and also add new questions on top of others. And at the end of the talk, we will ask the questions, the top questions, to the speakers. Don't ask, can I go to the bathroom, or stupid questions, because we will ban them. And we will
know
come
who you are.
and find you. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Long enough introduction. Let IoTs know. First speaker of the night.
All right. Thank
Jacopo.
you. Welcome, Jacopo.
So good night again. So this talk is going to be divided in two parts. So I'll basically start with a bit of the storytelling, and then things will start to get serious. Then I'll hand it over to Tommaso, who's actually the one doing the magic behind the ThinKINSIDE technology platform.
Puoi premerlo col dito e touchscreen.
Esatto, funziona. Okay. So today I'm gonna provide you a little bit of an overview on what we do, and in particular describe one of the scenario, one of the project that we're working on in terms of location intelligence. So, what is the vision behind ThinKINSIDE? Well, the vision is that, as I was saying, we are pretty much focused in indoor environments. An indoor environment could be this room, could be a supermarket, could be a manufacturing plant, is anything where in a way GPS doesn't work, let's put it this way. And our strong belief is that indoor location will become very soon a commodity. A commodity means something that is available pretty much everywhere and anywhere. Starting from this, actually, I would like to start also from an analogy. So what actually happened on the services that are based on outdoors, the services that we typically consume on a, let me say, daily basis. I guess we're pretty much familiar with GPS. So GPS is basically the enabling technology through which nowadays we are using Google Maps for going pretty much everywhere. This is the main reason why we forgot about the old good maps that we used to look at for hours before planning any trip. It's pretty much something that right now it's part of our daily life and actually has significantly changed the way we live outdoors in a way. So having this in mind and translating this into an indoor environment, what we see is that indoor localization, so the technology for localizing people or objects in an indoor space, is pretty much getting mature. So there are many different technologies that we can rely on. Some of them are based on Wi-Fi, some are based on Bluetooth, some on cameras. There are many different of them, but they are becoming more and more mature, and they are becoming integrated into the kind of devices that we carry with ourselves on a daily basis. On the other hand, the potential in terms of services and applications that you can build starting from indoor location there is huge. And it's basically spanning across many different sectors and verticals, from industry to retail, many of them. So what we do as ThinKINSIDE, we basically connect the dot on the map to these kind of services and scenarios. So ThinKINSIDE, in a way, it's the native technology for connecting indoor localization to value-added services. And this is actually how we kind of position ourselves in this area. So in general, we start by tracking objects and people and anything that is moving in indoor environment. We collect this information, we process this information with our platform, with our algorithms, with our technology, and eventually we provide two things to our customers. The first one, it's knowledge. Knowledge about what is happening in a physical space. And the second thing, it's real-time location-based services. So services that are based to services that are used to contextualize where a given object or person is in the physical space, and then deliver the service to the end user. So I guess right now you're kind of asking, okay, I got the little story, so what are you really doing in reality? And before explaining this, let me show you this little picture. So what do you think this is? Anyone is kind of have a guess? Close to that. So let's go to the next. One of the areas that we're working on is supermarkets. So in supermarkets, actually what we do is basically tracking how customers are moving in a grocery store by localizing the assets they're using to shop. So localizing the asset means tracking shopping carts or shopping baskets. And this basically leads to the first actually one of the scenarios we're working on. It's retail. And when it comes to retail, it's about in-store analytics, which is in a way understanding what people do from the moment they enter a supermarket until basically they get to the checkout. The reason why we do this is basically that, this is actually a small snapshot of a supermarket. So much is actually happening in the store. Eventually, what you actually get is the receipt, which is the last step. So when you get to the checkout, you pay, and this is actually what the store usually uses to make and to guess something about the customer's behavior inside the store. So what they actually bought is what they use to do business intelligence and customer behavior analysis. But what happens is basically that, as I was saying, this is just the last step. People buying is just what you see at the very end of this funnel. But before getting to this last step, usually you have people that are entering the store. So they go into the store, they shop, meaning that they visit the store, they move around. When they're engaged with some products, with some product category, they slow down, and eventually they buy a product. Now, in-store analytics, it's about these two steps, analyzing and modeling these two steps. So what people do when they're shopping in the store, before buying, eventually also while buying, but while shopping in the store. And this is actually what we do with our product. We position some small tags and some small antennas on the ceiling. With these antennas, we're able to localize with some meter accuracy where every single customer is moving. We reconstruct the full shopping journey of the customer, and then we build business intelligence on top of this data. So how does it work? This is actually our biggest customer that we have right now, Walmart. And by the way, this is basically Andre, who's the CTO of the company, heading to the store. I think this was the fourth night, because there, when you go to store, you can only work overnight, which means from 11 in the evening until 6 in the morning. And when it gets to the fourth day, this is the kind of mood that you have while heading to the store. The luggage with all equipment, pretty tired, pretty stressed, like, let's get this done and let's move to something else. The problem that Walmart has is that they have huge stores. A typical Walmart supercenter is 10,000 square meters big. It's a small city. You have grocery, you have clothing, you have electronics, you have everything. It's like a very small city. This is a typical aisle of a Walmart store. Actually, you could run for hundreds or kilometers inside the given store. And the problem they have is that how can they monetize such a huge surface? Their problem is that they have so much space where they can position products, they can change the layout of the store, the positioning of the different product categories. So much they can do, but for planning properly, these kind of actions and interventions is not enough to just see at what people buy. So they need to understand what people do inside the store, while shopping, while moving around. Are they stopping or not? How much are they walking inside the store? What are they using? Big trolleys, small trolleys, baskets. All these are very important questions for them to properly plan what to do inside the store. And so with Walmart, actually, they came to us, and eventually they wanted really to have something that helped them in this kind of analysis. And so we started to infrastructure 1 store, 2 stores. Now, basically, we're managing 4 stores, very big ones, with our infrastructure. How does a deployment look like? These are the kind of tags that we put on trolleys and baskets. They're very small, they're battery powered, and then Tommaso will tell you a little bit more behind the technology. But this is actually the kind of device that we put on the assets to be tracked. It's based on Bluetooth. They have a lifetime of pretty much 3 years, more or less. After that, you typically replace them because they're waterproof, so if they go outdoor, you need to also go outdoors, so they're kind of sealed. So this is the tag. Of course, to get some meter accuracy, it's very different from like beacon technology, standard beacon technology. This is a pretty much enterprise infrastructure, which also requires some antennas installed on the ceiling. Every antenna is localizing whatever is laying underneath. And with the combination of antennas and tags, as I said, we're able to localize with some meter accuracy where every single asset or customer, because being Bluetooth means we can also localize smartphones running a dedicated mobile app. So with this infrastructure, we're able to localize them and to know where everything is moving inside this physical environment. So this is the kind of data we work on. So with this tag that you see here up front, we are kind of digitalizing where the customer is moving over time. This information, of course, is collected, is being stored, is being analyzed and processed. and eventually is also being linked with a post-processing, in a post-processing phase with what the customer was buying. So in other words, we know everything about a given single shopping journey. We know where the customer was, where the customer was slowing down, where the customer was buying, how long the customer was waiting at the checkout counter, and what kind of asset, trolley or basket the customer was using. So we know really everything about the shopping journey of customers inside the store. This is how data looks in reality, beyond basically the small video I was presenting. This is some real data traces of customers in one of the Walmart stores. As I was saying, this is all data that we process. Eventually, their ultimate goal is, in a way, to do what Google Analytics is doing on the web. So they want to do A/B testing in the real world. In particular, what you see here are two stores. They look pretty much the same in terms of layout, but they are two different stores. So what Walmart is doing in this case, they have a test store and a control store. In the test store, what they do, they plan and implement interventions. Examples of interventions are that they change the layout, they move maybe product categories, maybe they change the assets or the trolleys and the basket that are being used. And then they have, one is a test and the other one is a control. So of course, they implement changes and they compare the results on the other store. And based on this, they have a kind of living environment where they keep on experimenting and changing and improving on a continuous basis. It's really A/B testing in the physical world. And this is actually what they're doing with our technology in Canada. Now, just two slides about one other scenario, then I'll leave the floor to Tommaso to tell a little bit more about the technology behind this. As I was saying, retail is one area where we are active in, but in general, whenever there is tracking involved, and thinking about the services that you can build on top of that, that's still something that we are kind of working on. One other area we are currently present is smart manufacturing. So you might question or ask, what retail, smart manufacturing, what's the connection? The connection is pretty straightforward, meaning that both of them are basically starting from a tracking infrastructure, trolleys and baskets in the retail, pallets, forklifts, and workers in the smart manufacturing sector. We track different things. The platform is pretty much the same, meaning that it's, again, processing large volumes of location data streams. What is actually changing is the application that's consuming this data and then transforming this data into either analytics, knowledge, or real-time location-based services. This is just to show you what this looks like in reality. This is another video of a customer. Again, you see here the same localization infrastructure. This is small tag. And here, what you see, the red dot is basically, this trolley that is kind of really positioning exactly in the same area on the shop floor. A web interface, in this case, is really about, tracking and localizing and digitalizing where all these thousands of trolleys are moving in an industrial plant so that you can have a full control on whatever is actually happening. And also analytics, meaning that when you have 1,000 of trolleys moving around different production phases, you really need to know what is actually happening there. You need to digitalize the location of these assets. You need to understand how long does it take to move from one phase to another. You need to really get a clear understanding of the consecutive steps in real time and in the longer term for performing and understanding and optimizing the overall process. So this is a bit of intro about what we do. Now let's jump a little bit more into the technology behind all this. Which one? I suppose left or right.
Again, it's touch screen.
The screen is ThinKinside.
So I'm Tommaso Schiavinotto. To convince me to talk, they told me I'm the software architect. And I'm going to talk about the architecture and the technology, so I think I will let you down if you came for the data analytics. And so I first introduced the technology that we use. We actually rely on Coupa because we found that is the more reliable of the technology out there, but we can work with any stream of device in combination with coordinates. So Coupa works as Jacopo showed. There are locators on the floor of like a supermarket or whatever. And there are devices that are advertising Bluetooth packets. The locators are actually arrays of antennas that can detect the angle of arrival of the packet, and they can intersect it with the configuration of the tag, that is what level it is with respect to the floor. So they can intercept the plan with the angle of arrival, and they know where it is. So the accuracy that we get is around 50 centimeter. They say they can get even better in special cases, but for us this is enough. So what we do is basic IoT processing. So we have several scenarios with their differences, with their idiosyncrasies, and what we do is that in every of them we have a CUPA system sending data to us, and we have to give out some report that might be a dashboard, or they might be something else like an Excel file. We need to give the real-time maps that Jacopo shown, or notification about geofencing event. Here you see a cloud. Actually, this is a lie, because we actually have a cluster of dedicated server in let's say our cloud infrastructure, but often customers ask to have on-premises installation. So when Walmart asks you for that, you do it. You don't complain, and this means that our infrastructure maybe should be flexible enough to move from one place to the other. We are planning to move to a cloud infrastructure, but we have to be careful that we don't need to write too much code to have the both cases to work. So when we started, we had a prototype, and the prototype was monolithic. He had a part for a single process that was importing data. By the deployment, we're pushing data through a post HTTP interface. This data was channeled through real-time services for which there were WebSockets serving the positions updates, and at the same time it was also batching data, storing data in a MySQL database. And then there were trackers to detect when a session started and ended, the analyzer of this tracker. The system lasted longer than we were comfortable with, and after a while we had to decide to change it. But it was good because it could allow us to test the data analytics part for the policy for deciding when a session starts and ends and so on. So the good part it was also that we had a low latency between the import and the real-time services, because everything was done in memory and process. It was scalable in the sense that if after some deployment we couldn't keep up, we could replicate the architecture and use for other deployments, obviously with cost of maintenance. The bad was that the deployment was the highest resolution. So if the deployment was big enough for us to give us trouble, we couldn't face it. So, and then with MySQL getting bigger and bigger, all the query and the inserting that we need to have wasn't sustainable. And real-time web services were centralized again. When everything is monolithic, you can't distribute the balance between several nodes, and that was also a problem. And in the end, since it's monolithic, when you stop for anything like an update or whatever, what happens is that the importer is no longer working and we are losing data. So we moved to a completely different architecture. For the data ingestion, we have a pusher that is a very small and brainless component. It uses ACA streams. He pulls from CUPA position engine. He takes the position and creates a streamer and sends them to the MQTT server. And there is another dump module that doesn't need to be connected to anything. It just takes things from Mosquito and drop them in Kafka. Kafka gives us the persistency and the safeness that we need. So the data ingestion now, the import never stops, the pusher never stops, and this allows us to have most of the data always, unless connection is broken. So when we talk about the data stream processing, as we said, we have this different devices coming to information coming into the Kafka queue. We have an enricher that will associate the different devices with what we call assets. So for us, assets is the basic concept in our model, and we have a lot of metadata around the asset. So we need to associate each single device that is a MAC address to the actual asset. For doing that, you need MySQL. It's the only thing that you need. And to avoid too much I/O and waiting for the I/O, we just have a small cache. A Spark allows us to really scale this easily. We put everything in another queue with annotated data, and this queue is consumed by real-time services, again with the WebSockets for geofencing this time, and also for real-time positions. And also here we use ACA with ACA HTTP with streams and WebSockets. Also, it's very convenient for us, and we let do the hard part to the people of ACA that are smarter than us. So, and then we have the batcher. The batcher tries to find chunks of coherent data that are continuous, and it can be like for a grocery store it's the daily batches, so they are time based. For the industry might be shift of people, still time based, or we can have like people pass the badge, we start a batch, people pass the badge to when they go out, and we close the batch. So they can be also event based. So for Verona Fiere, we are working with Verona Fiere for Vinitaly. They asked us for a very high stream load, and so we had to test whether we were able to manage it. And actually, the architecture was quite good. Kafka, in particular, allow us to partition the data in several streams. So what we got is that for each device, we are just interested that the data of the device comes sorted in order of time. So for each device, we were sure that we could get all the data in order. So Spark was really good by consuming these different partitions of the Kafka queue, and we wrote in another Kafka queue, again partitioned in the same way. The main problem we had was with real-time services, because of the logic that we have for geofencing, and because of the limits of the operating system and the machine for the number of WebSockets we need to have open at the same time. And so we could span them through several hosts, and this was no longer a problem. So now I'm going to talk about, instead of the batching processing, as we said, we create batches. Once a batch is complete, like midnight came, we send a notification to what we call the operation manager. The operation manager check for what kind of trucks can be created from them and spawn a job that makes all the trucks that are needed. So when a truck completes, it sends another notification. The operation manager takes it and creates both the analytics, time-aggregatable analytics. The first one are like a summarization of the truck, a point where people stops and so on. The second one are like the time spent in a zone or stuff like this that can be aggregated over time, like in different period. And then it can create also features from the truck. The feature can be anything that allow us to filter the trucks in some convenient way, like the length, the duration, and so on. While everything is stored in Cassandra, for the feature we use Elasticsearch because Cassandra is not good for having flexibility on the query that we need. The feature can also be computed by analytics. Again, when analytics is completed, the notification is sent to the operation manager that will take care to send it to create a new job for the feature. So overall, there is part of the architecture. The batcher is the one sending only notification about when a batch is complete. And the operation manager that rely on Spark for running the different jobs can be easily parallelized, and we could run it with either on the Spark cluster, but if you use Yarn, Mesos, or Kubernetes, can be also spawned on different nodes. And then there is the last part, is an indexer that where, again, we use Elasticsearch, and therefore we can store both the data, there are information about the trucks in the analytics, or information about the jobs themselves. And this allows us to have statistics on the duration of the jobs, on how long it took from the submission to actually starting it, and so on. So this was our journey for getting a scalable architecture.
Thank you.
Want to try? Yeah.
Stop.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Both of you, Tommaso, Jacopo, come here.
Yeah.
Like,
So we have now questions, which is the hardest. Thank you very much for your presentation. As I told you, the first time you told me about Walmart, I was like, what? A company from Trento is working with Walmart? This is incredible. So that's why I invited them. I think it's a pretty cool story, not like my microphone right now. But yeah, I mean, it's quite impressive. And
that's actually the first question. Like, how such a small company made it to have customers like Walmart?
This is a good question. Sometimes we also ask ourselves how can actually we get.
Does somebody have an answer? Yeah. No.
So well, the first thing is that we're doing something that's in a kind of niche market. It's something very specific. There are not too many companies working in this kind of segment. Of course, it's not only us.
Not really staying in this place.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. Well, Walmart actually, when we actually got in touch with Walmart, Walmart was looking exactly for this kind of product. So something that started from the tracking of carts and baskets was able to build analytics and build insights on customers' behavior. We were already trying to market our solution for quite some time, so we had some visibility. We were using, so they had already identified Coupa as the enabling technology for the tracking part, so it was an easy match. So they were kind of already targeting Coupa to track this. They were looking for a solution built on top of Coupa. And it was us. Actually, it was the funny part of this story is just to be a little bit more. There was also another company competing for the same project. It was a US-based company, one of those big success stories that you read on the magazines.
From Silicon Valley.
From Silicon Valley.
Yeah, you read it on TechCrunch.
Hundreds of millions of funding, but eventually they chose us to do the project.
Yeah,
So
because
it was
Trent
really-
is better than Silicon Valley.
Yeah, so it was a very fortunate case, but as Tommaso was saying, it's also very challenging. Well, first of all, because of the distance. Second, because it's a quite a complex project. All the technology that you see behind is basically what you need to answer very complex queries from them at scale of different stores. So yeah, but it's it's progressing, it's growing. So.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, next to that, there's actually a question. There was like, not a question, but it's scary shit. And is supermarket analytics GDPR friendly?
Well, this
I mean, in Canada you don't have GDPR. It's both.
no, but they were prepared. We're not tracking people, we're tracking cars, objects. So, no, but besides the jokes, actually that's in a way true, meaning that an asset is in a way completely, I mean, of course you can push it to the very border of GDPR in this case, but as long as you track a trolley, it's just an object moving, there's no personal information related to a car moving. If you link it to the sales information and you don't have any, and you don't process any personal identifier of that sales information, we're still on the safe side. If you do a little step further, then that's something where you need to inform customers on what you're doing.
Yeah, like if you link credit card
or
to
loyalty
the receipts,
card
and then you have the journey.
Yeah, there was actually a question about that. Next question is like, do you think Amazon will destroy the remaining physical retail competitors with Amazon Go and their comprehensive online, offline user tracking?
Actually for us, what Amazon Go is doing, it's cool and it's great because actually they're really, I mean, supermarkets in general has always been a very conservative market. So not really keen to innovation, very static, very long innovation cycles. So actually Amazon Go is actually giving a big shake to this market. Now they're starting to worry because of Amazon Go, because the online is growing. So there's a lot of pressure to do more stuff, introduce innovation, which is good for us. Amazon Go is kind of the reference, but from what I heard, infrastructuring a small store with Amazon Go, it's a matter of maybe $1 million, something like that. It's incredible technology, but extremely expensive. Something that you could never deploy in a 10,000 square meter store.
We saw a picture, they had like a camera with 20 centimeters on the top, so it's not something
it's basically
that
a tech
everybody
demo.
can afford.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's basically a tech demo.
Although they are starting to have a new Amazon Goals on airports now, they are going to plan to.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, but for sure it's pushing a lot farther what retail and grocery store would be in 3 years from now. So it's good.
Yeah, so it's basically an enable for you,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you can say, hey, look what Amazon is doing. What are you doing, man? Yeah, you should totally add indoor analytics.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
We have a bunch of other questions, but we probably leave it for the Speck and Beers part.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot to our speakers.
Thank you very much.
There's actually a problem.
We are now singing a song.
Yeah. There's actually a problem. We totally forgot about the beers. Like probably some of you were like asking why there wasn't any beer.
We don't have beers.
Yeah, no. All the beers are in the kitchen.
Really?
But yeah, so if you guys can actually move just a slight, or like two of you maybe can come on this side, whatever. We need to fit like 2 crates of beers. Somehow.
With the ball
Otherwise,
beers.
like we skip them. Okay.
Oh no.
So, cool. Okay, cool. So 5 minutes break. Be on time because we have a cool thing to show you in around 5 minutes. Okay.
Here the beer is coming.
Ciao.
5 minutes.
Una issue a quest'ora non
Tutto in inglese si sta lo slide. Siamo a 85.
il discorso che faceva.
No, sono divertenti.
Un lavoro incredibile.
Vedo c'è un po' di coda alle birre. Sicuramente ne abbiamo già dato.
L'abbiamo già avuto.
Bello.
No, adesso aspetto che mollino loro, poi lo guarderanno.
Tanto poi fanno una pausa sigaretta.
Ah, ma
Faceva finta di chiudere le braccia.
Hai finito 2 casse? Guarda, lui sei riuscito e tu no, perché?
Right? Okay. Thank you. If you got a seat, if you got a beer, please take a seat because we are showing you something cool.
Attento che è responsabilità mia. E tu hai responsabilità.
So, me and Francesco, we are now singing a song, and we have the musical video behind me. So, if you are curious enough about the musical video of me and Francesco singing,
Which was actually true. And it happened.
it happened.
We have some scandalous pictures of that.
Yes, we have many scandalous pictures of me and Francesco.
And also of Friccionelli,
Yes, also Frizzonelli,
also Maria Celeste,
also
Beniamino,
Nicola.
Pedro.
So, for whom of you? Lessico, incredibile. For those, for doom.
Okay.
Those.
So just before, like as a Christmas gift for. Hey, oh.
No. I think we need a little bit of atmosphere before starting. So, can we, Emanuele? Can we have some light atmosphere here, some situation?
Okay.
Better, thank you.
Just before Christmas, we decided to put together, or let's say our video maker put together a nice recap.
This is standby of my computer, which is broken.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, put together a nice recap of the retreat of Speck&Tech. This awesome weekend, 2 days in the Alps, here in Di Maro. Actually, unfortunately, where the tragedy happened a few
Where
weeks
the
later.
Maro was.
Yes. So if you take a look and if you like it, we might do something similar in the future. If you have nice ideas or alternative venues, let us know.
Thank you everybody for joining us. It's been a blast.
Trashy as always. So thanks a lot to our awesome video maker, Giulio Della Torre. It was very good memories, we can recall. And I guess this was kind of pumping, and we plan to do a retreat edition number 2 probably next spring, summer, whenever we manage to survive and organize stuff. So
I don't know, we should sleep sometimes.
Yeah, also correct. I guess it's time for the second speaker. Yeah,
nice.
You can sit again.
What? Really? No, now stand.
And now second speaker! Luca directly from Arduino.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Welcome, Luca.
Thank you. So,
I will start with something that is, because I feel like I'm dumb boss because they are so cool, no? You know, and like I'm the old guy telling something about IoT. So everyone also in the company will start saying, why are you going to Trento? It's such a small city. What? I said, what? So, you know, because this is not ham and tech, no? It's Speck&Tech, because with ham you always are kind of choking and you always coughing. When I was a child, I was always choking with ham, but never happened with Speck. So I love Speck, and I love Speck&Tech. So thank you. So that's incredible for me. Really good. So today, because this is an IoT's kind of, you know, conference, at least. So I'm not going to use the remote of the PC, but I'm gonna use my phone. Because that sounds a lot more like, you know, IoT. That's very nice. This is why we need IoT, because I can use something that costs something like $500 instead of something that costs $20 to do something. So that's really, really nice. Yeah. Even more, if you can afford it. I cannot, obviously. So I'm the CIO of Arduino. How many of you know Arduino? Quite a few. How many of you use Arduino? Oh, how many of you have an Arduino starter kit? Oh, more than how many of you use it. This is kind of funny. And so, how many of you did something about IoT with Arduino? So really, really few of them. That's interesting. That's interesting because that's the reason why I was hired by Arduino, so that's a good news. I have a lot to do still. So this is nice. And so I'm gonna be a bit more general because the audience, so a lot of you already used Arduino, in the later stage I'm gonna speak a bit more technical, because how many of you are developers? Web developers? Oh, very few of you. Nice. And electronic engineers? 2, that's nice. Probably the best ratio ever. 2 embedded developers, you are hired already, because you know there are no embedded developers in the world. So Arduino is made of hardware. I'm gonna put this on standby. I don't know if it's gonna work again. But anyway, so we have hardware, software, and people. And this is key. This is a key value of Arduino, because Arduino is really, really, as of now, still such a small company, like 70 people, more or less, in total. And last year, we were something like 30 in total. So people for us means the whole community. We also do hardware. I'm gonna see what that means. And we are focusing a lot more on software. Why? Because something that already my colleagues said a few minutes ago. So they spoke about commoditizing of location, indoor location, but that's also true for hardware. Hardware is going to be a commodity. Now having something that can swap your slides can cost really a few dollars, or even $100, but that's another problem. And the hardware is getting cheaper and cheaper, so it's very hard to make a business out of it unless you are something like Apple, probably. So we are focusing a lot more on those 2 key values, still supported by this one, because this is our, you know, our roots are there. The hardware. This is one of the first Arduino board ever, and it looks like an Arduino Uno, but was manually soldered by Massimo Banzi and David Quartiellas in their garage. It really sounds like it is Silicon Valley style, but it was like in Ivrea. And this is a serial port, a real serial port, so you know the old ones. No USB, and an 80 mega chip by Microchip, and really huge condenser. The ones condensed that usually completely broke your PC, at least in the 90s, something like that. So this was like kind of first version. This is a newer version, not the last one, but still already a much newer version. And you know, it's kind of beautifully designed something, because I'm really more like DevOps, Linux geek, and wasn't able to really verify how beautiful it is. But if you really look at this, and even it's gonna be completely gray, the shape was completely unusual. Every other kind of motherboard out there were completely rectangles or squares. But this is as a custom shape, like the Coca-Cola bottle, you know? You can recognize it. Then we have such a super nice things, like this is a custom capacitor plugged there. This one costs a lot of money. So that's why Chinese clones cannot have this, because it's super costly, super expensive. But people love it because, you know, it's nice. And also the color. Every other board out there was either completely black or with that blue that was, or green, completely green or black, nothing else. So we did this mix. There's still a lot of debate because you have this green, then you put it, you cook the board and it changes color. It's a complete mess. So it's really a huge issue for us in different factories to have the same color. So this is kind of the past and the present of Arduino, so the big educational market and so forth. And then we started having this completely new format that is more about having something that is smaller and you can create a product on top of it. So it's going to be more modular, and we're going to see also faster and with a lot of included things in it, especially the fact that you can run everything with batteries. It already has a crypto chip in it. The chip is no more 8 bits, but 32 bits and many other things. And also costs less for us and for the users, which is kind of nice. So this is the IoT family, but now I will start making like the ADV for our company. I will speak a lot more about Speck and Paninis, you know, because we are a Speck company. So the Panini concept is like this. When you build oh, this is not Speck. I have to tell the designers that something is wrong here. So you have the bread, then you have the cheese, then you have the Speck, obviously, and some salad and the bread again. So you can have an enclosure, a carrier board that is something that is connecting your power or many other different sensors. The board, the NKR board, and then the shield. The shield means different kind of connectivity. It can be Ethernet, it can be LoRaWAN, Bluetooth, or whatever you want. And then eventually an antenna and another enclosure. So this is for us the Panini concept. And obviously in the Panini concept, we need Speck. So we need Speck inside our Panini. That's why I'm here, the only reason actually. So the software. What about the software? Arduino is widely known. Once I always say Arduino, and I also say that I'm Linux, web developer, DevOps, that kind of things. They say, why are you working for an hardware company? To make it a software company. That's the reason. So Arduino is also a language, kind of language. It's more like a set of libraries. So it's C++, but it's extremely simple. I didn't believe that when I joined Arduino. I said, look, Arduino seems like a toy, you know, it's like, why is that? Why is it so simple? Too simple for me. I cannot understand, it's too simple. And they told me, okay, now let's try to directly do some embedded programming and use C++ compilation, which is something I was used to, was fine, and then use something like OpenOCD to upload your file, and then write to a specific byte in the bootloader, and then I was like, what? Do I really need to do all this kind of things in a preset sequence? Otherwise, nothing is gonna work just to blink an LED. It's like crazy. And so, what really our thing is, like 12 years ago, was something like, no, forget that. It's just pin mode, set this pin as an output. This is an LED. And now repeat this. It's just a for loop. So write on the LED, wait for 1 second, write off on the LED. And that's like how many lines of code? Probably with comments 12. It just works. And this completely changed the life of millions of people. Why? Because that was not intended for professional developers. It was intended for you, for all of us, even for me, which I'm down as before. So our developers did an incredible job to do some pre-processing of these C++ libraries, automatically include dependencies and many kind of crazy things. If you are completely curious, just take a look at this page, the build process on GitHub. But especially if you are a developer, so there are at least 30 developers out there, you should definitely check the source code and see what we are really doing behind the scenes. So it's more like than probably 10,000 lines of code doing the magic. Just because we want this, pre-processing and compilation plus upload in just 1 click. That was a big revolution. Why? Because while every of our other competitors and company were trying to add features, we said, no, our main feature is to make it simple. So screw the technology. Doesn't matter. It can be something super old. The 80 mega chip is something like 30 years old. It doesn't matter. If you extremely simplify the process, you are going to have users because it's, everyone can use it. So my father can use it, which is nice. So that was this idea that everyone out there, including me when I started joining the company, say, was this really an idea? It's like, it's not even line numbers. It's not an idea. It's what this prep is. This has been downloaded 2 times every second, every single second. Now, just 8 people downloaded this IDE. It's the most used IDE ever, even as of now at least, more than Visual Studio Code. It's like the most used IDE in the world. The second one, actually, the first one is Excel. That's another story. That's another big story. Trust me, Excel is the most used IDE in the world. Let's skew that. So this is an IDE. Only has basically a few buttons. The main one is this one, is to compile, and this other is to upload. And upload compiles and upload. 1 click, and you have your code running. Nothing else. That was complete revolution. Because no more messy make files, move files, reboot, reload, reset, click at exactly 5 seconds from the first blink and so forth. And all of this is open source, like the panini recipe. What is the analogy with the panini? The analogy with the panini is the fact that everyone knows the ingredients, and everyone can go to some groceries and buy some food. The salad can be even the same. It can be the same salad, the same bread, but how you combine everything together is what really makes a great panini. So this is why no other places in the world can make the same speck as we can eat here, Because this is the speck made in Trent, so people born with it and start eating it, and it's part of their culture. That's the big difference. That's why we really think that the panini market is going to be big. So nice. Then they asked me, but I am a kind of web developer, DevOps, and that kind of things. I love Go, microservices, ultra-scalable systems. I work for a company that is named Cloud9. I don't know how many of you know that. It was basically the first online IDE in the world, made by people who invented Ajax, so the asynchronous JavaScript, and by people who invented Node.js and that kind of things. So I was a web developer, a web DevOps kind of, done myself before. And I was hired by a kind of hardware company. So that was a problem because there were nothing I was able to work with. So Massimo had this crazy idea to actually have the IDE that was running on a single board, and he said for a prototype it was just 150 board being sold with a whole board like a Linux box with an IDE in it running on kind of web server inside it with Kafka script and other crap. So I said, look, this doesn't look really horrible, it's just completely horrible. But the idea is really nice. So we can port the whole IDE online and make a service out of it. And this was an interesting experiment because at that point in time, we were basically 3 people. So me doing DevOps, a web backend developer, Matteo, and a web front-end developer, Stefania. So the 3 of us were trying to port this. Then we had another incredible UX designer, Alice, that was able to redesign everything. And we put this product online in something like 3 months or so. We put it online. We didn't tell it to anyone. We started having an invite system like it was Gmail at the beginning. And we immediately saw that in just 1 month we had 100,000 users. It's like, oh. And obviously it was for free, so we were basically ruining our companies. So that's why I started trying to optimize everything and cutting costs everywhere. So this is completely, reactive and is compiling online and all that kind of things, but to really scale, we are not using WebSockets. And trust me, you don't need WebSockets unless you wrote the WebSocket library, probably. So this is not a chat, so you don't need WebSocket. But even for the chat, you don't need WebSocket. So I don't know when you really need WebSockets, because I work with the WebSocket developers really, really close. So I think you can usually mimic the WebSocket behavior without using WebSocket by using REST APIs. And if you really embrace the REST APIs, you can do incredible things. I don't know, Google.com is made out of REST API, not WebSocket, just to give you one big example. I don't know if it's one of the bigger, but still. So this is online and it is for free. You can create a sketch, you can compile, and then you can upload. But no, actually, you can really directly upload. Why? Because the web is completely, let's say, old. It's kind of old. It's running on this HTTP protocol. It's on the web. There are different servers. And we have a physical object. How can I connect this thing with a web something? It is a serial interface to USB, so this is a capacitor that I have to control. There is an LED. It's not on the web. So there is kind of something missing. The missing part is the Arduino create agent, but that's a completely another story. So let's look at it a little bit further later on. Now the third part of my slide, the community, is just to give you some numbers. So that 100,000 users now are 700,000 users basically. And we also have a lot of users that are not just using our services, but are also creating content out of it. This is the power of Arduino, the users. But why they are creating content? Because we allow them to create content. So the big revolution, I said, is to simplify everything. So if you don't know how to spend your last money for having gift during the Christmas, just buy a starter kit, it's fine. So, and something was more like, oh, this is really IoT, let's see. Oh, but I am on the other screen, probably. Oh, it's there, I can see it. Okay, never mind. Didn't work. Too much IoT. Oh, maybe now it's still no. No. So, what you can do with Arduino? Something that is super interesting. This is Simone Gert, and she's doing incredibly nice robots, super useful ones, actually. This is something you can do with Arduino. I think this is extremely useful because she can, she was brushing her teeth while having a shampoo, which is really hard to do without an Arduino. Even with an Arduino, it's very hard to do. So, this is what you can do with Arduino, but also you can do something more pragmatic and have the makers kind of ecosystem. So there is a Fab Lab here, and some of you already spoke about that. And in every Fab Lab, there is a kind of 3D printer. Most of the 3D printers are using an Arduino Mega inside it. And Ultimaker actually made a company out of it. So they are using our open source design to build their own product. Why? Because the whole hardware of Arduino and most of the software is completely open source. So you can actually build your own, resell, and be happy. What you cannot do is use our name or our logo in some nasty ways, unless you pay us. In that case, we usually grant you, especially if you are Walmart. We can probably allow you to do that. Sometimes we don't even allow you to do that, even if you give us a shit amount of money, because we don't really think that, I don't know, if you are gonna sell bombs with Arduino logo on it, we don't like it, even if you give us a shit amount of money. This is a bit different for some other companies, but I don't mention that. I don't want to mention it. I don't know what's going on, but it's kind of interesting. Okay, we're gonna have the logo. And then we also have something more professional, and the way actually in which we pay salary is this one. So Vodafone making partnership with us. Because I said, a lot of people think that Arduino is just a toy. So while it is a toy, it's being used by companies like Boeing, Rolls-Royce, Vodafone, and many other companies. And Vodafone had to test their incredible 5G networks. And they say, oh, look, that's super nice, but there are no phones out there that are working with 5G. So we are not able to test it. That's incredibly nice. So we have this such super wonderful piece of technology, but there is no hardware out there to test it. Looks good. So they ask us, look, those are the specifications. Why don't you create a board that supports those specifications? And we did. So we started working with Vodafone, then it was Telstra, which is one of the main operators in Australia. And we are doing the same with many other companies. So there is also, a professional nature of the company. Something completely broke today, okay? That's how IoT works, actually. So this is exactly how IoT works. Because this is our claim. If something is really simple and you are a professional, for you it's going to be incredibly fast. Because it's so simple that you are a professional, it's going to be fast. And because how many of you are developers, you said? Raise your hands. Okay, all of us, I think, are lazy programmers, right? No one's, lazy programmers. So it's going to be fast, I'm going to use it. Just because I'm lazy, I don't want to click twice, just once. And that's why we have this kind of IoT. What do you see here? What do you see here? What? Yeah, a lot of panini, right. You want a slice of Speck? Yes. So you have a lot of panini, speaking different languages. Don't be racist, panini also speak languages. So you have Wi-Fi, BLE, LoRa, Sigfox, and GSM, whatever it is, narrowband. They can either directly speak with the cloud, which is kind of nice. And then once you want something that is extremely cheap, and I think they had the same issue, you cannot just have a device that is costing $50 and have 1,000 of them in a supermarket, because it's gonna cost quite a few money. So you need something in the middle, which is named a kind of edge device for computing, whatever it is. And you are sending your data to this edge device that is then going to send to the internet. Because either this is going to be extremely inexpensive, or because this is indoor. In that case, usually you are in like you are in a cage, so there is no electromagnetic fields that can go out of there. And that's why you have those things. So those are super cheap paninis with no ham and no Speck inside, which is like, oh, no Speck inside? Really? So you put Speck here. And if you have good Speck, people are gonna buy it and gonna hit it. And eventually tell their friends to buy more paninis. So this is the, virtuous circle of the Speck in the world. It's IoT Speck. This is our vision. So we started with a greenhouse. This greenhouse was presented at the Maker Faire a couple of months ago. And the first day was the classroom days. So everyone that was coming here say, look, can I have cannabis in there? And I say, yes, and can be connected to the cloud. It was like they reached the nirvana without having the cannabis. It's like, ooh, nice. So, Arduino IoT Cloud plus cannabis. What can it be better? So for students, was incredible. And then I started saying, look, you need to program it a bit, not that much. They were a lot less engaged last day. I started to tell them, so what you need for your cannabis plant? Oh, I need water. Oh, nice. You need a humidity sensor. Maybe you have some wind. Okay, so there is a fan out there. I need the LEDs, because the LEDs looks always nice. Every time you have an IoT system, what do? Turn on and off an LED. What the hell? But you have an incredible such thing that you can do, I don't know, move trains by using your mobile phones. And what do is blinking an LED. Why? Because the first example in the Arduino starter kit is blinking an LED. That's the only reason. Then you have a moisture sensor and many other things. So you define your properties. You define your properties of your greenhouse. And then you automatically have a dashboard. So you don't need to configure anything. It's just, we know what kind of data are gonna display, and we do a dashboard for you. You don't like it, doesn't matter, it works. It's just one click away. You are lazy, so you're gonna like it, because you are lazy. Trust me, that's how IT works. The whole IT works because people are lazy. So why people are gonna use Google Maps? Because they don't want to ask their neighbor how to go to the grocery. It's just, I can use my phone, it's fine. Because they are lazy. So it's the same in the whole industry. We want a greenhouse, and we are lazy. What we do, an incredible IoT system to make it work from my mobile phone. What such a powerful thing. And this actually happened because you take your super old production ready, legacy system, looks really a lot professional thing. This is my enterprise. Let's name it. This is my enterprise sketch. So probably something like 15 engineers for 6 months work on this. Okay, let's say one of them was writing the code, the other 14 were probably, I don't know, reading Y Combinator or something like that. And then, so, okay, we say, because we are all lazy, I want to break free. No, I want to create my IoT system out of my old code because I'm super lazy. So what can I do to IoTize my old sketch? And I'm lazy, so I cannot do something like create an AWS account and put my credit card, which is super painful. I don't know where my wallet is. It's like, no, so what do I do? It's just adding one line of code, which is Arduino cloud.update, and I forget about everything else. Because every variable here, it has been defined as a property before. I'm gonna step back. So look at this, it's like humidity and light. And it's like humidity and light. Ooh, nice. So if I name something in the right way and not just ABC, ABC1, and you are correct because ABC is extremely lazy. Actually, you should use ASD because it's more lazy than ABC. But I can work on it, so we are working on an aliasing system to redefine your variables. So, you know, even if you use ASD, I know there is some temperature. But that's another step. It's gonna take like 8 months of development, something like that. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So what's gonna really happen? And every time you call update, we send the data on the cloud. So you are really wasting all of my gigabytes of my mobile phone sending data? You're crazy? You are crazy? I spend 10 euros per month probably to have something like 15 gigabytes. So I don't want to do that. It's like this is gonna be a payload of something like 1 kilobyte. Are you wasting my money? No, I'm not wasting your money. What I'm doing is to send your data if and only if you decide. Either some interval is passed, like every 30 seconds, or a property change. So if the temperature doesn't change, I'm not gonna send you it again because it didn't change. So I'm gonna save your data plan, don't worry. And now, because all of us, you know, have this, I don't know, what's the French company that is giving us 3 gigabytes? It's Iliad, right? Yeah, that one. So every one of us probably has that one. But in the IoT world, there are companies paying something like $1 every megabyte of data to have super international roaming worldwide, that kind of thing. So if you are gonna able to save 1 megabyte of data on not dozens, not hundreds, not thousands, but not millions, but trillions of devices, it's gonna be trillions of dollars saved every single month. And this is not a joke. It's exactly our market. They are trying to cut every single byte of cost. So you have to save bytes. And that's why we have gzip everywhere. So, okay, now it's nice. We are gathering data. Okay, everyone is gathering data. Everyone did that in the last, I don't know, 12 years. I'm gonna have some water, sorry. But gathering data is not IoT at all. Why? Because you are just telling me that the LED is turning on and off. But IoT, what was really IoT? When I open the gate by using my remote command, that's kind of IoT. So IoT is really when you have bidirectional data coming. So you are not just sending the data to the cloud, which is our servers, but you are also receiving the data from our cloud. That's one thing. The other thing is that because all of our clients are completely open source. You can have your own cloud, and we don't care. You just use our technology, you use your on-premise, whatever it is, that is not going to work, but doesn't matter because it's not my problem anymore. Now it's your problem, so it's fine. So the real thing is having something that can control your device remotely and not just sending me data. Because receiving data, we have emails. Why don't you just have emails inside an Arduino? It's fine. So you can have this. So if something is changing, so if someone is pressing a web button in a web interface, obviously, you are going to receive a callback, and you can open a door, open a gate, or start a train, whatever it is. And it's one single line of code. Everything else is happening, just happening. So this is really why I call it the IoT revolution, because there is no such revolution. It's so obvious that's the only way it should be designed. Everything else that is involving more reasoning is probably wrong. We should, everyone, especially as developers, we should try to have everything simple to use, everywhere. Because that's the only thing that is paying. Have everything super optimized, it's fine, but now we can have cluster of 1 terabytes. Actually, 7 years ago, we could have 1 terabytes of RAM in our server for just $25. And now they are costing something like $4,000 to have 1 terabyte of RAM. So do you really need to optimize every single clock cycle? Probably not. You just need something that is simple and understandable. Then there are going to be tons of engineers optimizing it. Now, the fact that they cannot find engineers in this world is another problem, but we are going to solve. And there are actually 2 embedded engineers for a year now, so that's fine. They are going to save us. So it has to be simple to use, and for us also secure by default. Why secure by default? Because a lot of people are just taking, I don't know, whatever it is, in localhost with broken HTTPS. They are sending data to post a tweet by using a chip. I'm not gonna name it, but an ESP8266 with no encryption so far. So basically, you are gonna have your data in the public. And because you are not an extremely incredible engineer, and really few of engineers are super nerds about security, because security is extremely complex, the IoT is completely broken. Everyone can read data from everyone else. There is no such secure cloud at all. So what we did is that you cannot disable security. It's either TLS only, or you are not gonna send data. Because if I allow you to send data without security, and you are lazy, which is true by default, there is an OR, and there is always a true. So it's not gonna work, because you are gonna disable it. And then I go to jail. And because I don't want to go to jail, because of the GDPR policy and that kind of things, you are forced to use TLS. That's long story short. Then the protocol is completely open, it's MQTT. Is it gonna scale? Yes, it's based on, it's working on any kind of MQTT server, so either a Mosquito or we use a VernMQ, which is written in Erlang. Then it's gonna work on AWS IoT, or in Google IoT Core. Everyone has a different name, look at that. But the protocol is the same, it's always MQTT. Then I already said effortless user experience, and I want to reuse your sketch. So those are our principles: security, laziness, and spec. So if you don't trust me, at least trust my colleagues. I just wanted to add it. I don't know how much we can see about this, but this is really a security system, so it's trying to identify if it is hand is like this or like this, and it's changing values. This has been done this morning, and I just wanted to put it here. And it's also moving this motor. Look, just moved. And that's a bunch of data coming via MQTT and to our servers. This is already in production, working under create.arduino.cc. Then there is a cloud button. You can join the private beta. It's gonna be free, so just do that. And you say, okay, and how do you make money if everything is free? Exactly, we don't make money. No, not just. We don't make that amount of money. We could do, but so we have different pricing strategy. One is, look, real-time data. Actually, that things we cap the user to send at most 10 data per second every property, and you can have at most 40 property every device. So basically 400 properties a second for every device. And we are already able to scale, as of now, to 10 million devices with something like 6 servers. How we make money? So the story is, if you want to use everything for free and you are not open sourcing it, so if you want to close your code, you are gonna pay. If you contribute to the community, then it's gonna be free, like it is in GitHub. If you make a company out of it, so you want something like professional support, you are gonna pay. If you really want everything for free and you are gonna have some limitations, like the number of properties you can write, or you are gonna have some ADV on the web interface. So the strategy here is, the more you contribute to the community itself, the more you gain kind of points, and it's gonna be free. If you want to start a business out of it, which is perfectly fine, and our main goal, then you're gonna pay us. So it's gonna be, good for experiments, like the shampoo robots, but also good for professionals, because they can make a business out of it. Thank you, everyone. I think that's
Thanks, Luca. Actually, it was a comment. I'm just reloading my IoT device.
I can.
Wait a second. Okay, cool.
raise your hand.
There was a comment saying, you know that you're in front of an awesome speaker when almost nobody writes questions. All super focused listening to you. Heart emoji. Oh.
Thank you.
That's not a very good question.
Yeah. Questions. Is Arduino's code that I write under GPL license?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, for those of you who doesn't know what GPL is, go and Google it.
Now there's a bunch of terms that I don't fucking understand. So, do you mean I can remove my Raspberry with Nginx and an SSL certificate in front of my garage opener powered by Arduino?
Yes, but you can also keep it, because we are not competitors with with Raspberry Pi. So yes, you can do that, but please don't, because you can combine an Arduino plus a Raspberry and do much more interesting things that we are gonna release next month, like you can recognize your face and open the gate if it recognizes you with a Raspberry, which is nice.
Not scary at all.
No, it's your face.
I mean,
It's not mine.
thank you.
Your
Thank you. That's very gentle of you. Thank you.
No problem.
Is the web interface customizable?
No, but we have an API. We have a REST API.
Right. Is there an API that can be leveraged to read data from the cloud and interact with the devices from other services?
More than it, you can also write properties by using HTTP REST APIs, because we love REST. And also there is going to be next week a webhook so you can be notified about new, changing of your things.
You're announcing quite amount of stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good brand. Final question, can you be a valuable embedded system developer without an electric engineering background?
Wait, repeat?
Can you be a valuable embedded system developer without an electric
Absolutely,
engineering
yes. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, if you are able to write tests, because I figured out that none of the electronic engineers can write continuous integration tests, which is like given in the web tech. So absolutely yes.
Cool.
Please do.
I'm sorry, Francesco. I'm joking.
Okay, thanks a lot, Luca.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Alright, so sorry Francesco, a little bit of an interruption. So, things first
Yeah.
things. We have a birthday today.
Not yet.
Not yet? No, it's another one.
Oh, another one.
Yeah, Elena. So, happy birthday, Elena.
Happy birthday. Some nice things for you, yeah, cool. Nice. So you paid it for the beers, right?
Happy birthday, Elena. Right.
Actually, we have one in an hour 15 by our beautiful Fabrizio. Where the fuck is he? He's going to get
He's gone.
beers.
He's
Okay.
gone. No, he's going to the actual party.
Cool. Okay, I guess that's almost everything for the night, people. So a big applause as well for coming, and thank you very much.
Oh, that's Fabrizio.
Actually, Fabrizio is our sponsor for the night. Thanks for another beautiful season of Speck&Tech. Now it's actually our third Christmas together.
Yeah.
So next year in 2019,
Holidays, not Christmas.
30
Very inclusive, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Next year we will turn 3 in March. There will be a big Christmas,
Holidays.
party, yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, and
Stuff.
now I guess there's the time to celebrate properly with some beers and some spec. But before that, we have some good indications. So since last time everything was kind of a mess, we will help you. So the people sitting on these small chairs in the top,
Quelle colorate,
quelle
the sedie colorate.
yeah, those are small and they go into the kitchen. So you can
follow Samuel, which is the handsome guy with the beard, the hot guy with glasses.
yeah.
So Samuel.
Those of you with these chairs, you can take them with someone to the kitchen. Okay?
Yes, he will guide you.
The green one, those, can you raise it if you don't mind it? Yeah. Yeah, the green ones go here in the room next to it.
In the stanzino, and you can follow Michele Pittoni for that one, which is the tall and handsome guy. Big applause for Michele. You're so popular, man.
Those of you down there on the orange and black ones, you can fold them and you can put them down there together with Emanuele.
Nearby Emanuele, the strong one.
Yeah. And finally, those of you sitting on the wheels and on the red ones, you can just throw them somewhere so they don't break my balls while we are serving spec.
Yes.
Fuck it.
Yeah, lastly, if you... No. Lastly, after stacking the chairs and everything, if you want to give a donation, there is Luca and Luca at the reception that you can ask for a receipt and everything else.
And
So-
actually, it's the last donation of the year. It's
Yes.
next to Christmas. You can make a gift to Speck&Tech, yeah?
Or if you want to give a t-shirt for a Christmas present to your loved ones, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. The gift you're looking for, yeah.
Obviously. All right, thank you very much for coming, everyone, and see you next year.
Buonasera. Ciao. Grazie, prima faccio il volo.